In a world where social media glamorizes love, a seemingly perfect romance takes a dark turn. A beautiful woman's enchanting date spirals into a nightmare as she becomes the target of a chilling act of betrayal. A single drink laced with deception shatters dreams and reveals the chilling truth behind a charming facade. Zara Walker was born and raised in a bustling city known for its vibrant art scene and eclectic fashion culture. From a young age, she was drawn to the world of creativity, often spending hours in her mother's fabric store, surrounded by colors and textures that sparked her imagination. Her mother, a skilled seamstress, nurtured Zara's love for fashion, teaching her the intricacies of design and encouraging her to express herself through clothing. Zara's childhood was marked by a deep sense of individuality. She often mixed and matched outfits that reflected her unique personality, gaining confidence in her style as she grew. Despite her creative inclinations, Zara faced challenges during her teenage years. The pressures of fitting in and societal expectations weighed heavily on her, leading to moments of self-doubt. However, she found solace in fashion, using it as a means of self-expression. By the time she reached high school, she had transformed into a confident young woman known for her eclectic style and fearless attitude. Her peers often sought her advice on fashion, and she began to cultivate a small following on social media where she shared her looks and styling tips. After graduating high school, Zara pursued a degree in fashion merchandising. She worked diligently, balancing her studies with part-time jobs at local boutiques. Her ambition drove her to establish herself in the industry, and she quickly gained recognition for her keen eye for trends. With a strong desire to inspire others, Zara created an Instagram account where she shared not only her fashion choices, but also her journey through the industry, hoping to connect with like-minded individuals. As her online presence grew, so did her confidence. Zara's followers appreciated her authenticity and relatability, drawn to her personal stories and the challenges she openly discussed. She cultivated a community that celebrated individuality, advocating for self-love and acceptance in a world often defined by unrealistic beauty standards. Through her passion, Zara built a life that reflected her dreams and aspirations, but she still yearned for a deep emotional connection that transcended the digital world. Eric Williams grew up in a suburban neighborhood characterized by a close-knit community and a love for sports. Raised in a family that valued achievement and success, he felt pressure to excel from a young age. He was the quintessential overachiever, involved in various extracurricular activities, from playing on the soccer team to leading the student council. While he appeared confident and charming to outsiders, Eric often battled insecurities stemming from his need to prove himself. In high school, Eric discovered his passion for photography, capturing moments that resonated with his emotional depth. He found solace behind the lens, using it as a means of self-expression and connection to others. As he honed his skills, he began sharing his work on social media, where he garnered a small following for his ability to tell stories through images. However, he struggled with feelings of inadequacy, often comparing himself to others in the competitive world of influencers. After high school, Eric enrolled in college, majoring in media studies. He balanced academics with his love for photography, capturing campus life and creating a visual narrative of his experiences. However, his desire for validation often drove him to seek connections that felt superficial. Despite having friends and acquaintances, Eric found it challenging to form deep, meaningful relationships, leading him to turn to online platforms in search of genuine connections. When Eric stumbled upon the influencer chat group, he felt an immediate attraction to the world of fashion and lifestyle. It was a realm that promised creativity and camaraderie, and he was eager to find his place within it. His interactions with others, especially women, were often laced with charm and flirtation, as he sought to forge connections that could fill the emotional void he felt. Yet, underneath his charismatic exterior lay a deeper yearning for acceptance and understanding, a longing that would ultimately shape his relationship with Zara in unexpected ways. Zara's world revolved around vibrant fabrics and dazzling accessories, each piece she wore telling a story of her creativity and passion for fashion. As a confident and ambitious young woman in her mid-20s, she had carved out a niche for herself as a rising social media influencer. Her Instagram feed was a kaleidoscope of outfits, beauty tips, and lifestyle posts that garnered thousands of likes and followers. Each morning, she meticulously curated her content, balancing her day job as a stylist with her online persona. The thrill of connecting with others who shared her love for fashion fueled her dreams of one day launching her own clothing line. One evening, while scrolling through a popular chat group for influencers, Zara's heart raced as she stumbled upon a conversation about the latest trends in sustainable fashion. Engaging with the topic, she shared her thoughts on eco-friendly materials and quickly found herself in a lively discussion with a fellow participant. Eric, a newcomer to the group, chimed in with witty remarks and insightful opinions that resonated with Zara. His enthusiasm for fashion mirrored her own, and their banter flowed effortlessly, filling the digital space with laughter and shared passion. As the chat continued, Zara felt an undeniable connection with Eric. He was charming and articulate, his words wrapping around her like a warm embrace. Their discussions spanned various topics, from fashion to travel dreams, and even their favorite coffee spots in the city. What started as a simple exchange of ideas soon blossomed into late-night conversations that stretched until dawn, filled with laughter and flirtation. Eric's personality shone through his messages, and Zara found herself eagerly awaiting each notification from him. Weeks passed, and the chemistry between them intensified. They transitioned from the chat group to direct messages, where their exchanges became more personal. Zara discovered that Eric had a creative side too. He dabbled in photography and was passionate about capturing the beauty of everyday moments. Their conversations painted a picture of two souls who seemed to have found a kindred spirit in one another. Each message brought a flutter of excitement to Zara's chest, a feeling she hadn't experienced in a long time. However, beneath the excitement, Zara felt a tinge of caution. While Eric's charm and charisma were alluring, she was wary of rushing into anything too quickly. Her previous relationships had taught her the importance of building trust and taking time to understand someone fully. Despite her growing feelings, Zara made a conscious decision to maintain her boundaries, wanting to ensure that any potential romance blossomed organically. As days turned into weeks, their online connection deepened. They shared playlists filled with their favorite songs, swapped fashion inspiration, and even discussed their dreams and aspirations. Zara often found herself smiling at her phone, captivated by Eric's words and the way he seemed to understand her. But amidst the thrill of this newfound connection, Zara knew that the digital realm could sometimes mask hidden truths. With each exchange, she wondered what awaited her in the real world, curious about the man behind the screen who had quickly become a significant part of her life. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm, inviting glow over the city as Zara Walker stepped out of her apartment, a mix of excitement and nerves bubbling in her chest. Today marked a significant moment in her life. Her first date with Eric Williams, the man she had been chatting with online for weeks. They had decided to meet at a lively bar known for its eclectic atmosphere and vibrant crowd. As Zara entered the establishment, the pulsating beat of music filled the air, blending with the chatter of patrons enjoying their evening. The dim lighting created an intimate ambiance, and the bar was alive with energy. She scanned the room, her heart racing as she searched for Eric. When her eyes landed on him, leaning casually against the bar with a drink in hand, a smile spread across her face. Eric looked even more attractive in person. As he noticed her approaching, his expression lit up and he straightened, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Zara felt her nerves dissipate as Eric greeted her with genuine enthusiasm. Taking a seat beside him, Zara felt an instant connection, as if they were two magnets drawn together. Eric wasted no time making her feel comfortable, offering her a drink and complimenting her appearance. Zara blushed slightly, grateful for his kind words and the ease with which he carried the conversation. They began to chat, exchanging stories about their lives, aspirations, and dreams. Zara ordered a refreshing cocktail, while Eric stuck with a classic beer. They shared stories about their favorite music and the wild nights they had experienced in the city, each anecdote drawing them closer together. As they delved into deeper conversations, Zara found herself opening up about her dreams of launching her own clothing line. She passionately discussed her love for sustainable fashion and the importance of individuality. Eric listened intently, his eyes sparkling with admiration as he encouraged her. Zara felt invigorated, thrilled that someone was genuinely interested in her aspirations. The bar buzzed around them, yet it felt as though they were in their own world, cocooned in the warmth of their connection. Eric leaned in closer, hanging on Zara's every word, making her feel valued and appreciated. His laughter was infectious, and the way he engaged with her made her heart race. However, beneath the excitement, a cautious voice lingered in Zara's mind. While Eric was charming and attentive, she couldn't shake the feeling that moving too fast could lead to complications. Her past experiences had taught her the value of patience and the importance of building a strong foundation before diving into something more intimate. As the evening wore on, Zara caught herself glancing at the clock, a slight knot forming in her stomach. She wanted to savor this budding connection, but felt the weight of the moment pressing on her. When Eric asked about their next adventure, excitement bubbled within her, but she knew she needed to balance her eagerness with her reservations. Zara responded that they should take it one step at a time, expressing how much she was enjoying getting to know him while emphasizing the importance of building something real. Eric's smile faltered for a moment but quickly returned, respect shining in his eyes as he acknowledged her stance. Their date ended with a promise to connect again soon, and as Zara walked back to her apartment, the sounds of the bustling bar still echoing in her ears, she couldn't help but replay the evening in her mind. The chemistry they shared was undeniable, but the cautious voice inside her whispered reminders of the importance of trust. With excitement tinged by apprehension, she knew this was just the beginning of their journey, one that would challenge her understanding of love and intimacy while testing her resolve in ways she had yet to imagine. In the weeks that followed their first date, Zara and Eric embarked on a whirlwind of shared adventures that deepened their connection. They explored the vibrant streets of the city, discovering hidden gems, quaint boutiques, cozy coffee shops, and stunning parks. Each outing was filled with laughter and playful banter, and their chemistry seemed to blossom effortlessly. One evening, they attended a local art gallery opening, surrounded by beautiful paintings and a buzzing crowd. As they admired the artwork, Eric's hand brushed against Zara's, igniting a spark between them. The atmosphere was electric, and Zara felt herself drawn to him, yet a nagging hesitation lingered in her mind. Zara enjoyed their intimate moments, sharing stories and dreams over candlelit dinners. They spent lazy afternoons in the park, wrapped up in each other's company, but despite the closeness, she remained steadfast in her decision to take things slow. She cherished their emotional connection and wanted to ensure that their relationship was built on trust and mutual respect. However, Eric's frustration began to surface. Zara could sense his growing impatience, the subtle shifts in his demeanor during their dates. While he was always charming and attentive, she noticed a hint of disappointment in his eyes when she set boundaries regarding physical intimacy. He often pushed for more, coaxing her with sweet words and gentle touches, but Zara remained resolute. Her heart ached at the thought of disappointing him, yet she understood that trust was a fragile foundation that needed nurturing. Each time they parted, Zara felt the weight of her decision, hoping that in time, Eric would understand the importance of patience in building something lasting. As the weeks turned into a month, the initial excitement of Zara and Eric's blossoming relationship began to shift. Eric's growing impatience with Zara's reluctance to deepen their physical intimacy became increasingly apparent. At first, his dissatisfaction was subtle, an occasional sigh, a fleeting frown during their intimate moments, or a comment at his frustration. Zara initially brushed it off as typical relationship pressure, attributing it to the natural ebb and flow of emotions that accompanied new love. She wanted to believe that their connection was strong enough to weather any discomfort. Yet, with each passing date, the weight of Eric's unvoiced discontent became harder to ignore. The playful banter that once characterized their outings now carried an underlying tension. Zara noticed the way he sometimes stared at her, a mixture of longing and disappointment etched on his face. It left her feeling guilty, as if she were somehow letting him down. Despite her instincts telling her something was amiss, Zara convinced herself that this was simply a phase they needed to navigate together. She cherished the bond they were building, the laughter, the shared dreams, the intimate conversations, but she remained steadfast in her commitment to taking things slow. Eric's frustration simmered beneath the surface, and Zara felt the ripple effects. On nights when they were together, his eyes sometimes held a desperate plea, urging her to let her guard down. Each time she set a boundary, she could see the flicker of disappointment in his gaze, unsettling her. While Zara wanted to be open to the relationship's possibilities, she felt the need to protect her heart, not yet ready to surrender it fully to someone whose expectations began to feel overwhelming. As the days went by, Eric's frustration turned into something darker. Each time Zara turned down his advances, it felt like a blow to his pride. He couldn't shake the feeling of rejection, and it began to eat away at him. The connection they shared was strong, but Zara's boundaries made him feel powerless. One evening, as he sat alone in his apartment, Eric's mind raced. He replayed every moment from their dates, trying to find a way to move their relationship forward. The pressure to take things to the next level consumed him. Then, in a moment of desperation, an alarming idea popped into his head, one that shocked him, but also excited him. He pictured their next date and thought about how he could make Zara more willing to be intimate. If she was unable to resist, he could finally have the closeness he desired. The thought filled him with both dread and a strange sense of power. As the plan formed in his mind, Eric decided to take Zara to a trendy rooftop bar, knowing the romantic atmosphere would be perfect. He prepared carefully, thinking about how to carry out his plan without raising any suspicions. He would order drinks for both of them, adding a sedative to Zara's cocktail while acting charming and attentive throughout the night. When the day of the date came, Eric felt a mix of excitement and fear. He dressed sharply, determined to look perfect for Zara. When she arrived, looking beautiful and happy, he forced a smile, hiding the turmoil inside him. As they sat together, the sunset painted the sky in attractive colors. The mood felt electric, and Eric enjoyed the atmosphere. As they talked and laughed, he ordered their drinks, selecting Zara's favorite cocktail. When the waiter walked away, Eric took a deep breath. He had slipped a sedative into Zara's drink when no one was watching, and now it was time to put his plan into action. Eric raised his glass for a toast, trying to appear calm. He offered a forced smile as Zara clinked her glass against his. She looked genuinely excited about the evening, her eyes bright with anticipation. They began to chat and laugh, sharing stories and dreams, while Eric acted attentive, masking his true intentions. As the night progressed, Zara suddenly felt a wave of dizziness wash over her. She paused mid-sentence, trying to shake off the unsettling sensation. Eric leaned in, feigning concern, and pretended to care, asking if she was okay. Zara smiled weakly, brushing it off as mere fatigue. However, the truth was far more alarming. She was losing her grip on reality. The world around her began to blur, and focusing on Eric's words became increasingly difficult. He noticed the change in her demeanor, feeling a twisted sense of satisfaction. This was exactly what he had wanted. Zara was becoming more vulnerable, just as he had planned. He suggested they step outside for some fresh air, his voice low and smooth. Zara, trusting him, nodded even as the dizziness intensified. They stepped onto the balcony, where the cooler night air hit her like a wave. Eric wrapped an arm around her shoulder, pretending to be protective. Zara leaned against the railing, feeling increasingly unsteady. She struggled to maintain her balance, panic starting to creep in. As she admitted to feeling unwell, her heart raced with fear. Something was wrong, and the weight of betrayal pressed down on her. Eric's expression shifted, his eyes glinting with a disturbing intensity. He told her to just breathe, but his calm demeanor only heightened her unease. With each passing moment, the sense of danger grew. Zara wanted to feel safe, but instead she was acutely aware that she had placed her trust in the wrong person. As the world around her faded into darkness, she realized that the night had taken a terrifying turn. The very man she thought she knew had betrayed her in the worst way imaginable. As the sedative Eric slipped into Zara's drink began to take effect, she felt a heaviness settling over her. Her thoughts grew fuzzy, and it became harder to focus on Eric's voice. The world around her blurred, and she struggled to stay conscious. She wanted to tell Eric that something felt wrong, but the words wouldn't come out. Instead, she leaned against the railing, desperately trying to hold on to her surroundings. Eric watched as the sedative worked its way into her system. Twisted satisfaction filled him as he saw her struggling to keep her eyes open. This was the moment he had planned for, the moment he thought would bring them closer together. Zara felt lost in a haze. She could hear Eric's voice, but it felt distant, like an echo in a dream. The laughter they had shared earlier faded into silence, replaced by a pounding in her chest. She tried to push away the feeling of vulnerability, but it was overwhelming. The night that had started so beautifully was now slipping away from her grasp. As Eric leaned in, attempting to take advantage of her weakened state, Zara's body reacted violently to the drug. A wave of nausea washed over her, and she stumbled back from the railing. Her heart raced uncontrollably, and she felt a tightness in her chest that terrified her. Panic surged as her vision began to darken, and she realized that something was terribly wrong. "Zara, are you okay?" Eric's voice sounded urgent, but there was a coldness behind his words. His fake concern did nothing to ease her fear. She shook her head, trying to communicate that she needed help, that something was happening to her, but it was like trying to shout underwater. Just as she felt her legs buckle beneath her, she managed to gasp for air, but it was too late. Her body gave out, and she collapsed onto the cold floor of the balcony. Panic filled Eric's eyes as he watched her fall. In that moment, everything spiraled out of control. Eric's carefully laid plan was unraveling before his eyes. He had never intended for things to go this far, but now he was faced with the consequences of his actions. Zara lay motionless, and the gravity of the situation hit him like a tidal wave. He rushed to her side, shaking her shoulders. "Zara, wake up!" he shouted, panic seeping into his voice. But Zara did not respond. As the sirens wailed in the distance, Eric hovered over Zara, his heart pounding in his chest. He felt frozen, unable to process the reality of the situation. He stayed by her side, watching as the paramedics arrived. They worked frantically to revive her, but Eric could see their faces turning grim. Despite their efforts, Zara was pronounced dead at the hospital due to cardiac arrest caused by the drugging. The news struck Eric like a physical blow. The vibrant life Zara had led was abruptly cut short, and a profound sense of loss filled the air. Eric's world spiraled into chaos as the consequences of his reckless actions began to unravel, leaving behind grief, anger, and a tragic void. Detectives arrived at the upscale restaurant where Zara had last been seen. Among them was Detective Jemima Lucas. She began piecing together the events of that fateful night, reviewing the security footage from the restaurant. The video showed Eric and Zara laughing and talking at their table, but as the evening progressed, the atmosphere shifted. Detectives noted Zara's sudden unsteadiness and the moment she collapsed. They collected statements from staff and patrons, trying to create a clear timeline of events. As the investigation unfolded, suspicion began to focus on Eric. Friends who had seen them together noted changes in Zara's behavior. She had seemed more withdrawn and anxious in recent weeks, which raised red flags. Detective dug deeper into Eric's past, uncovering a troubling pattern of manipulative behavior in his relationships. As evidence mounted, the tension in the air thickened. The community awaited answers, and those close to Zara feared that the truth would reveal a darkness lurking beneath the surface of what was once a promising romance. Detective Jemima delved further into Eric's past, uncovering a pattern of manipulative behavior. Several former partners came forward, detailing how he had pressured them into uncomfortable situations, often using charm to mask his controlling nature. One ex-girlfriend described an incident where Eric coerced her into sexual acts, reinforcing the troubling narrative. Investigators examined text messages revealing Eric's frustration with Zara's boundaries, including one where he questioned why she wouldn't let go and enjoy their relationship. This evidence illustrated his attempts to manipulate her into intimacy, casting a shadow over his intentions. Based on the findings, Eric was arrested. The day of the trial arrived. Eric faced multiple charges, including second-degree murder and administering a controlled substance without consent. As the prosecution laid out its case, it became clear that the evidence against him was overwhelming. Detective presented the findings from the investigation, including the surveillance footage from the restaurant showing Zara's gradual decline into unconsciousness, alongside testimonies from friends who had witnessed Eric's controlling behavior. Witnesses took the stand, recounting their interactions with Eric and revealing the pressure he had exerted on Zara leading up to that fateful night. One friend described how Zara had expressed concerns about Eric's increasingly demanding nature, highlighting the emotional turmoil she experienced. Another witness shared how Eric had bragged about his conquests, indicating a lack of respect for boundaries. As the trial progressed, emotions ran high. The jury listened intently, weighing the evidence presented before them. After several days of gripping testimony, the jurors were sent to deliberate. The atmosphere in the courtroom was thick with anticipation, and supporters of Zara's family held their breath, praying for a verdict that would reflect the injustice done to their beloved friend. Finally, after hours of deliberation, the jury returned to the courtroom. The foreman announced the verdict: guilty on all counts. A wave of relief and grief washed Zara's family and friends, knowing that justice had been served, but also mourning the loss that could never be replaced.